Hi, welcome to the Untitled Astrology New Moon Forecast for January of 21. The moon is waning. The energy is diminishing, getting darker. How are you feeling? The moon is waning, and on January 12th at 9 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, the moon will conjoin the sun, start a new lunar cycle, and begin to wax again. Anxious, unsettled, maybe feeling defensive or insecure. Dark moons are vulnerable times, actually. They're a little more edgy and difficult. And this new moon has a lot of intensity behind it because it's right at the edge of Sagittarius moving into sidereal Capricorn. And it's in alignment with a very rare conglomeration or assembly of planets in Capricorn that is going to form throughout the next lunation cycle as we go through the full moon and back to the new moon again in February. This new moon is like a karmic threshold, a reset for the year. It's the first lunar cycle of the year, basically, that's beginning in 21. And it's a time to connect with self-empowerment, to go within, especially with all of this energy in Capricorn. It's all going to be combust in the sun, so invisible. A lot of planets are not going to be visible in the next few weeks. In fact, the only one that is going to be strong in the night sky will be Mars, the warrior planet. So this is a time to take responsibility, to empower yourself to become stronger, to find a sense of inner truth. Now, Jupiter, the expansive Jupiter, and Saturn, the contracting, restrictive energy of Saturn, have been very close to each other basically throughout 2020. And especially in December, if you remember that Christmas star, the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn that peaked. And as we've seen, there's been a lot of challenging times in 2020 because of the pandemic when it comes to restrictions on people. And also now, just recently, the uprising at Capitol Hill, those protests that became tragically violent, it just seemed to be carrying on this theme of strain and conflict and a lot of focus on how maybe our ideals don't always match up with what's really happening for people. The truth is there's a lot of disenfranchisement and people feeling pretty powerless right now around the world. And it's been actually happening for a very long time. There's a lot of strain. Capricorn is governments. It's basically how we work with these big, lofty ideals. And the star that this new moon's happening in and where that great conjunction also happened is Uttara Ashadha. Uttara Ashadha is in Sagittarius and Capricorn. So this new moon's right on the last degree of Sagittarius. So some kind of big transformation coming up in the next lunation cycle, but it's still all in Uttara Ashadha as it moves forward. Uttara Ashadha is the universal star. The star, yes, of what is universal, what connects us, what is good and true in the human spirit as well. Now, Uttara Ashadha is also a star of kind of stubborn, intense idealism. It's called the star of unstoppable victory or later victory. And it is symbolized by an elephant tusk or the Hindu god Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. So there's a lot of potential in this time to really look at our problems and find solutions, push through the obstacles instead of looking away or trying to sidestep. We can just go straight in and see the problems now. We kind of have to, right, in our lives. And this may be showing up on a personal level, depending on how this great assembly of planets is going to aspect your natal chart. You'll see the themes coming forward in different ways, perhaps. But on a collective level, I think it's pretty obvious that people need to start to take responsibility for how we communicate and see each other, how we uphold each other and support each other. Now, as I was saying, Mars is the only visible planet throughout much of next month, and so there is a there is a possibility for more volatility and uprising. This isn't, Mars is a warrior planet ready to fight. But we can use Mars to also focus and get work done. So this is a great new time to find very realistic work to do, conscientious work to make your life more resilient and more powerful and more strong. Now, leading up to this new moon, starting today and running up to the 12th, there's going to be a triple conjunction of that Jupiter and Saturn that I was speaking about, that we already had just recently in Uttara Ashadha, and Mercury. Mercury will also be close by, and it will be visible. It'll probably be one of the last times we can see these planets for a while, so you should try to check it out if you have a low horizon, like if you look out at an ocean or a plane, you could see them right at sunset in the west. Now, Mercury coming together with Jupiter and Saturn, it could bring more focus on censorship and information, and also misinformation and how we handle it, like what is even truth and freedom of speech. These issues are coming forward probably a lot in the next few days, and probably even all the way through the next 2 months in a big way. So the violence on Capitol Hill and the recent deactivation of President Trump's Twitter account and all of these things that are sort of falling apart here is very much in alignment with a lot of this energy of coming together now. And the pressure cooker will continue in Capricorn. It's not going to go away for a little while. It's going to continue, like I said, through at least around early February, mid-February, when the sun transits out of Capricorn and into Aquarius. Now, this is a great time, like I said, to be going within, because everything's in the light of the sun, invisible. It's sort of a retreat time, a time to connect with your higher awareness. How do you empower yourself? How do you make yourself resilient against all the possible changes of this world? Because really, the truth is, we often think we can rely on systems or people in our lives or things that we take for granted, that we can't always. Later on, there can be changes that happen. The true resilience comes from within an inner independence or an inner dependence on what you believe in or what you have faith in that holds you strong. So this is a time to really step into taking responsibility for that yourself, and maybe also seeing this with a deeper self-awareness where you aren't completely taking responsibility for your life and working to change that. As I was saying, how this all affects you depends on your natal birth chart, so book a reading with me if you would like to know more. Also, I'm offering recordings of the 2021 forecast, which includes some of this information as well as a lot more going throughout 2021. There are horoscopes for your sign and a calculator in order for you to calculate your Vedic sign, so you know what your Vedic sign is, and then you can find out your horoscope for the year. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link to my website where I'm selling those classes in the window below. So let's just take a look at what the tarot cards have to say about this upcoming new moon in Uttara Ashadha. The first card that came forward is it's Capricorn the Devil. Okay, so the Devil, which is a pretty misunderstood card in the deck, is symbolized by the sign actually of Capricorn. Remember I said Capricorn is this very deeply ambitious and materialistic sign. It is a very grounded earth sign. It's a sign that sometimes is called the sign of Kali Yuga because of its kind of it's cardinal earth. So it's got this very focused attention on the material world actually, and power as well, ambition. when it's channeled in the right way, as I was speaking about, especially Uttara Ashadha, that has such a connection with the Vishvadevas, the Dharmas, the good and truth, willpower, the righteousness of our souls. But there is a side to Capricorn that also struggles with those issues. As we've seen with all of this energy, like the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, that's a war of energy. And so control versus freedom. And how do we free ourselves, actually? Yeah. To find a way out of a system, that is probably not all really for all of us. This is kind of a collective issue, and Uttara Ashadha is a very collective kind of star. So a system that, like capitalism, that is based on greed and taking advantage of the earth. How do we work with this? How do we transform? Now here, look at that. I was talking about a pressure cooker. This is literally, she's just cooking something here. You can see over the fire. This is the alchemy. Temperance. You got to get the right balance of ingredients. You have to have patience. You have to measure it carefully. That's a big part of how we work together as well in groups. It's interesting, this card has to do with Sagittarius, where the new moon is actually happening. And then it's moving into Capricorn with everything else. So there's something here the cards are trying to say about those two signs. Maybe how Jupiter's strength to bring awareness of everyone's needs, to bring together the water and the fire to make gold. Jupiter is gold. He's the wealth of unity. And this other part of Capricorn that's very, very realistic, that has no time to waste with these ideals, that wants sustainable and truthful and really righteous justice, what is really true, to come forward. There's a lot of these themes right now. And on a personal level also, you might be feeling, somehow where you may have lost your power in one avenue or another in your life, and a need to come back to find a way to creatively reconnect with it in the next months. There's a lot of potential for that, and to break out of old patterns, and that's something Uttara Ashadha can definitely help us with. This is the 10 of Swords. It's enough. There's still a lot of volatility in the air. But we can use it to be like, I've had it. I'm done. I'm freeing myself from this situation. If there are situations like that where maybe it's just a bad habit you want to break, or coming into a better routine for yourself. Okay, take a look. What is truth? And how do we find the right balance between our creative souls and the collective's demands and needs, other people in our lives? Where do we find freedom to fly, to release, to be true to our authentic souls? It's time to come back to the inner heart and reimagine, restructure, reconnect with your original intention, your creative heart, your true essence, and break away from what has held you in fear or kept you in patterns that have disempowered you. There's a way to come together carefully and gently and with great Shraddha, with great consciousness. Even the most difficult, most incompatible of alignments can be made into a soup of magical possibilities. Trust in your inner wisdom. Stay aware of what is true, the right, the good, and the higher purpose that gives meaning to your life. So take care out there. And thanks for coming to an Industries Astrology New Moon Forecast. If you liked this forecast, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the notification bell. Also, you can get on my newsletter. It's free. Just click the link below. You can also calculate your Vedic Nakshatra, your birth star, and get a free PDF. As I was saying, I do offer one-on-one consultations, Vedic astrology consultations on Zoom. And if you would like to check out that web class for the 2021 horoscopes, it is still available on my website. I will leave a link below. Thank you so much. I will see you soon.